Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, with me, as always, is Mr. Bobby Blunts. Boys and girls, we got a big one Sunday night, not Saturday, but Sunday. It is UFC Freedom 250 on the White House lawn. I don't think anybody's tuning into this program to get our political views on the fucking fights and anything like that, Bobby. So we're going to stray away from that kind of talk. We have our own opinions and what it is. But I don't think, if you're asking me for political advice, you got fucking more severe problems and issues in life. If you're coming here to ask for political opinions and views on the White House card. But we'll get into that, obviously, but Bobby, I do want to back up, because we're going from the glorious White House this Sunday, but last Saturday we had the mighty Apex, if all things, and Gabriel Bonfim absolutely pieced up Bilal Muhammad through 5 rounds. Bilal offered nothing. I see a lot of people on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it, just kind of say, Bilal just kind of stood there. He didn't, where were the takedowns? It's hard to take somebody down when the person is marching towards you. And that's exactly what Bonfim did. He did not let Bilal, get into the game plan of where usually it's Bilal putting the other person on the back foot. Bonfim put Bilal on his back foot and literally just pieced him up for 25 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, constant pressure. And, he was doing it early in the fight. And, Bilal essentially had his back to the cage that entire first round, really no move to do anything. So, yeah, I was a little surprised at the amount of people that were surprised with the lack of wrestling. Because, to Bonfim's credit, he gave him really no opportunities to. In the third, he tried to immediately shoot, which, also got pretty much shut down. But Bonfim absolutely hit the perfect game plan that he needed to do to really just neutralize Bilal's offense. I know a lot of people are thinking Bilal was just like kind of falling in love with the striking, with the JDM fight.
His Canelo hands. Remember, yeah. Bobby?
Well, people think he was like falling in love with his hands for the JDM fight, but it was the same thing. Like JDM was doing everything to make the wrestling very limited on his side, and Bonfim kind of just perfected that game plan. You saw how Ian Gary was able to more or less slow the fight down in front of him, and Bonfim just kind of did the opposite and really kept that pressure on the entire time. And I don't know how you scored it, but it was an easy 50-45 for me.
That's how I scored it. I didn't think Bilal won one round. I thought Bonfim won in the early rounds, and then I think that Bilal thought maybe he could turn it on in the rounds 3, 4, and 5, and he couldn't. And I think it was round 3 is where he kind of tried to do a quick takedown, as soon as the bell rang, right? Like he kind of tried to do a quick takedown, and it got stuffed. And then after that, it was pretty much over.
Yeah, and Bilal just continues to show his chin. That shot where the mouthpiece
flew out,
basically flew out of his mouth. That would put a lot of guys down, I think. So, but yeah, it was really one-way traffic the entire time for Bonfim, and it's just kind of more of these new younger guys coming into a very stacked division as is, and the former champs are continuing to have struggles. Both him, Leon, and JDM are now on losing streaks. So I definitely think there is still time for Bilal to, get everything right and maybe not get back in the title mix, but I could definitely see him, putting together a win streak. There are plenty of people that you can still match him up with in that division that have no matchup. But bottom line, Bonfim should be ranked top 5.
He is. I know we got the new rankings allegedly coming out soon. They've said, but he jumped 6 spots and is now even ranked above Sean Brady. Bonfim is 5.
I don't really mind the MMA math in that scenario.
Right. Brady loses to Bilal.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was very telling at the beginning of the broadcast. Fitzgerald made a point to, hey, we're going to these rankings, but spoiler alert, they're going to be bullshit in, whenever we announce these new ones. And, I do think in the short term that could be a good thing, but at the same time, I think more now than ever, they'll be able to just kind of use it to their advantage for the matchups they want to make. Like, for example, the Shabazian Brendan Allen fight. I think we're going to get a lot more of those matchups of guys ranked in the top 5, possibly fighting an unranked guy. And, I know, well, at least I'm hoping. Yo, what's up, Kev? At least I'm hoping that they won't really be able to control it, but I'm also not going to be that naive that they're just, not going to use the AI to, help their end goal.
Right. Agreed. But back to Bilal, like you said, this is 3 fights in a row he's lost. Like, sometimes I think, like, you peak on the way up, right? I think he peaked in that JDM fight, when he won, and then, or no, when he lost to JD, who did he beat? Oh, Leon. Yeah. When he kind of peaked on the Leon fight, and then now
did a lot to get there too.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, he peaked, and now, like, he's peaked, and he was up there in age already as well. And now he's on the back 9, I feel like, in his 3-fight losing streak. And maybe the book is out. Like, maybe JDM wrote the book on how to defeat him. And, now you're seeing guys kind of even perfect that game plan. For him, I just look at it as, like, do you do like him and Joaquin Buckley? Like, that's.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. I think that's a perfect fight. Because, we also have a lot of unanswered questions on Buckley with his last performance. And at the same time, if Buckley is able to keep it standing, like Bilal's last opponents, I like Buckley's chances in it. I do got to say, though, like, let's acknowledge the 3 guys he lost to are very good. I mean, I know the JDM loss isn't aging that well, but Ian Gary's about to fight for a title. And I think a lot of the betting bros were forgetting that this was essentially a pick'em. It's not like Bilal was like a -300. I mean, I know you picked Bonfim to win.
Right.
So you weren't too surprised, but I think a lot of people, like, when they did not see the fight going to their result, they just figured he was completely outmatched, and he essentially was. But at the same time, the betting line had it a coin flip, essentially. So.
Yeah, it did. And I picked, I picked Bonfim on the show, but I didn't bet him. What I did do was bet the over on the rounds, because I think it was 3.5. I thought Bilal would, I thought that it would go the distance, which it did. So I took, in one parlay I had the fight will go the distance, and another parlay I had, over on 3.5 rounds, just because I thought Bilal was too tough. Like, and he showed his toughness in there, right? Like, it's not like he's losing, but he's not getting, like, viciously knocked out or finished, right? Like, he's losing tough fights, but and this time there's not much to offer. Who they will give him, though, Bobby? Because I don't think that the UFC's in Bilal Muhammad business. What they will do, they'll give him, like, Amazov, right? Like, that's who they'll give him, like, a killer, like
the Ukrainian dude.
Yeah, Yurmilas Amazov,
yeah.
who we just saw. And is nasty. That's who they'll give him, and they'll just hope that he does finish him.
I mean, at the same time, I also love that fight as well. But I do agree. More than likely, they would go that route. But at the same time, I think the UFC also doesn't know what exactly they have in Buckley. So I do think that matchup would kind of serve their needs on both ends there. But, I think you got about right in that range, because he's obviously going to drop. And I wouldn't have him fighting an unranked guy yet, Because I mean, again, does Buckley still have a ranking or?
Yeah, Buckley's still 10.
Yeah, so like that 10 to 13 range. You know, I saw some people suggesting, well, maybe this is the time to do the Leon Edwards rematch. I guess, but I would really prefer them to maybe do that down the line and it's, I don't know, every rumored Leon matchup I keep seeing, like I hear they're talking about matching him up with Oral By.
I saw
hate that for Leon. So
yeah, I do too. Why would you do that?
And I think, like, if anything, what last Saturday did highlight is how quickly the UFC will like cycle out their champs once they lose the title and stuff. Right. And, you know, you have a very kind of short window to be at the very top, and it's extremely harder to get back there. I mean, if anything, this also kind of gave me a lot more appreciation to Sean Strickland, someone who did lose it, tried to get it back, lost again, and then still managed to figure out a way to get a second title.
Right.
So you just kind of got to appreciate those things as they come. But I still got faith that Bilal will bounce back. I am a little bit more curious how they go booking Bonfim going forward, though.
That's what I was going to ask you, because it's a stacked at the spot, right? Like JDM is still 4.
He called out JDM too in the post fighter.
That's the fight then, right? That's the fight to make.
It tough fight for JDM, but at the same time, I do think that kind of makes the most sense. Because
unless you're going to do like Morales or Prates, unless they fight each other, which that's the fight I've been begging for.
Yeah, you can get that. I still am not sure. You know, I think me and you are both in agreement that after the White House, they probably will announce Gary versus Makhachev. Yeah. But until they do, it almost feels like there's a logjam with those top 3 guys.
Right.
So, you know, I'd be kind of surprised if we hear anything until then. But I don't know. I think JDM and Bonfim would probably be the most fun. But at the same time, if
you got Sean Brady right there too, right? Like you could do Brady and Bonfim.
Yeah, and Brady was also trying to get on that Philly card. So, you know, that's another kind of opportunity they could go. But I also would not mind Bonfim versus Morales. I think that would be a very fun matchup.
Right.
You know, I do Prates Morales. I think that's only likely if, you know, they don't think Islam is going to try to turn back around like kind of quickly. I think they'd hold one of those guys out and then book them against one of these other top guys coming off a win.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe in December I could see, you know, you're talking August. You know, the next kind of we know the Connor is IFW. The next kind of like major big one that they always do big things for is the MSG card, right? Like in November. That's usually in November. So that'll be like kind of like the, you know, the questionable mark here where they're at there.
Yeah, I got a feeling that's going to be reserved for the winners of this Sunday's card.
Yeah. You're right. Probably could be if Tom Aspinall could be. That would be what they would love to do, I'm sure. But, you know, so we'll see.
I'll break your heart on the second part of the show. I'm not going
to. Brendan Allen gets a nice win over Edmund Shabazian. You know, there's not really much to say. I mean, he looked good. He called out Sean Strickland. Don't really think, obviously, that's going to happen next. But you kind of wonder where, like, he goes here for Brendan Allen, because, like, he's lost to those top guys at middleweight. Like, he's lost to Imanov. He's lost to Sean. I don't know if, you know, Drickus, it seems to be rumored that him and, you know, Usman are next. Do you do like he lost to Anthony Hernandez? Do you do like Brendan and your boy Kaio?
You could. I mean, it really, I appreciate him calling out Imavov. Like if he kind of needs to take a fight and they go the
rematch,
the Strickland Chimaev rematch.
In the first round, he almost knocked Imanov out of there. Remember, like, and then Imanov kind of put it on him in the later rounds.
Yeah, no, I think they've both gotten a lot better. I don't know. It was a frustrating one for me because, like, at the end of the day, Brendan Allen took a lot of risks, and I'm not really sure what for. Like, I don't think he'll be in any better standing to get, like, kind of the matchup he requires. But at the same time, you can only, get who's given to you. And I do think even though Shabazian lost the fight, I think he also showed he belonged in fighting the ranked guys in this division. Brendan Allen won the fight. I had it 29-28. I understand that people added 30-27. But, I also don't think it was a fight where his stock like plummeted or anything. I think there's a lot of good matchups at middleweight that you could do him ranked, but it would really come down to if they're going to do the Strickland Chimaev rematch, because if that's the case, I would just say maybe run back him versus Nasruddin. I'm not really too big of a fan of the Brendan Allen Kaio fight. Maybe it's just because I think I'd favor Kaio and I don't really want to see Kaio win. But, Brendan Allen, that would be the fresh matchup. So I would not hate that.
Yeah.
But however, I do want to say Dricus was talking about, and this might come down to a medical suspension, but Dricus was saying that Usman still has not signed the fight.
Correct.
If Allen gets no suspension, I could see him trying to hop in on the OKC card. And, they've had words before. So you
didn't
could
they get
equally
into it?
sell me on
they
that.
got into it at one point or another. Who did Brendan Allen get into it? Was it Dricus like at a PFL event or something?
No, that was him and Vettori got into it.
Oh, that's right.
And then they actually settled it in the cage, and it was probably one of his more exciting fights there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Dricus. I mean, if I'm Brendan Allen, that's like give me somebody in that range to try to, whether it's Kaio, Imanov, or Dricus, So we'll see. Tom Nolan gets a nice win, a unanimous decision win. He moves to 11-1. What was your thoughts there on that fight? And then I want to hit on the Bryce Mitchell fight as well.
Very good performance by Nolan. There was a lot of canceling each other out in that fight, but he clearly won. I mean, there's really no question about that. And, I think a lot of people were sleeping on him. I picked against him, so I guess I'm guilty of that as well. But, he definitely is showing that he belongs as well. And, it's good to see, those Australian guys have that success. That was, you could tell the win meant a hell of a lot to him.
Yeah, I'd like to see, I don't really know where, like, what kind of, like, he to me, he's in that, like, let's see if he can fight a Drew Dober or Bobby Green type, at lightweight before you give him like a ranked number. I always feel like those guys are prime right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be critical, but this fight was kind of an example of why I really only acknowledge rankings 1 through 12.
Right.
And though Nolan had a great performance, I don't think he's going to be really competing for a title anytime soon. But
agreed. Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he can get, plenty of wins and maybe get there someday. But
he's still young. He's only, 12 fights in.
Yeah. And he is criminally underrated. Like, he does not get enough credit. I mean, I'm almost being critical when he had a great performance. So,
right.
I am curious kind of where they would go next. I mean, it's, he's obviously not going to fight Salkill. So,
right.
I don't know what they do next with him.
Yeah. Bryce Mitchell gets the sub. He moves to 19-4. He's undefeated as a bantamweight, Bobby. I think it's time to hop on the Bryce Express here and really give him give him like a ranked guy. Like he's a name. He is undefeated at bantamweight. Like it's time to hey, let's give him somebody in the bottom of the rankings here at bantamweight.
Yeah, at first I wasn't sure what you meant when you were talking about hopping on the Bryce Express, but yeah, he looked great. And furthermore, I really got to praise his post-fight interview, like him upping Luna, who took that fight on a week's notice, pretty much saying without him, there would have been no fight and stuff. And so, I understand that he's polarizing in very many different ways, but he more or less always comes off as a good guy, especially when it comes back to giving to the sport. And that was just a prime example of it there. I do wonder, though, it does seem to be a tough weight cut here. It's been that a few times. So though I do think he should continue here, that's like really the only thing that gives me a slight pause, even though he is undefeated in the division.
Yeah, I mean, you could face him against the number 15 guy, Marcus McGee, who had a win here on this card too, and he got moved to 15. I mean, or him and Cheeto Vera or somebody like that,
Yeah, no, I mean him and Cheeto would work. In hindsight, they probably should have just matched him up with Marcus McGee this past weekend, but I mean, obviously he had an opponent that fell out, so that's not completely on them. They were just kind of making stuff work.
Yeah, I'm not saying I think Bryce is like a top contender at bantamweight, but I think he could be definitely a top 10 guy.
Yeah, no, I think he could definitely keep getting wins. He has.
If him and Davis and Figueiredo fought, I would probably favor Bryce Mitchell in this fight.
Heavily. Like that is one that, I mean, you could do next, but I think that would also be one that, I'd have him probably as a 3-1 favorite in that fight, because Mitchell's control, especially when he's able to get on the fence and that cage grappling, it just really seems to be his bread and butter that he has no problem going back to. So,
and Figgy's 9, so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, you know what I mean?
And I'm fairly confident they re-sign him. He's, always been fairly easy to work with when it comes to in the cage and stuff. And I don't see them at first I was like having second thoughts and stuff with, the shit show and like the White House coverage and stuff, and then the pre-comments. But he undoubtedly belongs in this organization. This is where he should be fighting.
Right.
Selfishly, I'd love to see me some Bryce Mitchell in Ryzen, but at the same time, I think he's got a lot left to give to the UFC.
Yeah, agreed. I think this is, and he's a name. Say what we know he's says some wild, outlandish shit at times, but he's not as outlandish and crazy as Sean Strickland. Is that, you know what I mean? There's Bryce will say the Hitler comment obviously was fucking wild. But like you said, when after fights and things like that, he's not spewing anything other than propping up the person he fought, and anything and everything else. He's, even pre-fight, he never is saying a lot of, he's not bad mouthing his opponents or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, more or less, he comes off as a good and genuine person. So
right. Just got fucked up beliefs every once in a while, but he sounds like a person from Arkansas. No offense.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like a person that gets punched in the head for a living. I mean, I've never understood why people make mountains out of molehills with what these guys do. I've always. Maybe I just kind of look at it as words. I understand if some people can have that opinion, but it's never really bothered me in the sense to where I don't want to see him fight, because he is a good fighter.
Anybody else on the card that stood out to you before we move into the White House?
Marcus McGee had a masterclass, even though it did go to decision. So it was definitely good to see him get back on track there. And, the card itself was fairly entertaining. I know it was in the Apex, but I think for the most part, it delivered. There's what's that one dude, the Io, or what's his name?
Oh yeah, the guy that beat up Junior Tafa.
Yeah, so like
Io Brunowski.
So like good performance, but at the same time, like when Tafa was going down with that kick, the only thing I thought is they just re-signed Tafa to a multi-fight deal. But yeah, you can only fight who you fight, but as impressive as he was, I still have kind of unanswered questions about him because, he was just fighting the Tafa. And then what was the fight?
You got to start somewhere, Bobby. You got to start somewhere.
What was the fight underneath that one?
That was the Matt Schnell who came out of retirement and is now back into retirement.
Yeah, so that was more or less what we kind of thought would have happened, but it's good to see that get put into fruition. And at first, the stoppage also seemed a little bit weird, but the fight should have definitely been over.
Yeah, he didn't know where the fuck he was.
Yeah.
So. Agreed. Let's get into the White House card, Bobby. UFC 250. We've known about this for like a year. Obviously us, especially because we follow the sport. Now people are coming around realizing there's a fucking fights at the White House this week. Obviously, there's something that we've known about. We had the speculation of who's on the card for this and that. We finally get announced. The card gets announced. The more I look at this card, the more I like it. Now, there is some fights I told you, I kind of in text messages, like, I really like the card itself. Now, obviously, there's some fights where, like, I probably would have put this guy here and here, but, I'm not the matchmaker or making the fucking phone calls. Obviously, Dana said he had to have guys that he really trusted. And if you really look at the card, it is a bunch of guys that, are going to show up, make weight, and fight, right? Like, if you really look at it, it is, 14 probably the best professional type guys. I know Hokit and Curtis Blades on the microphone are a little bit maybe not as professional, especially Hokit here at times, but that's a fight that that they wanted. I'm not going to get. We both know the the behind the scenes bullshit and the political aspect, but again, we're not here to do that today, and we're not that's not really our forte and format.
Well, a quick caveat to that. I'm not trying to add on the political angle, but I do want it to kind of be said that a lot of people have been trying to put the politics aside and just say, hey, at the end of the day, this is a good thing for the sport. And I do kind of question that terminology. Like, if it's a good thing for the sport, the way I see it, it's a good thing for the UFC and all the Paramount execs. This is the end game in the sports washing. Like, we've been seeing Turkey Al-Sheikh, put on these fights from Saudi Arabia. So we've kind of grown numb to a lot of this stuff. And I think it's just kind of by design when, you're so used to it and stuff. So, for me, that's why it's not so shocking. Like, I cannot actually believe this is happening, sort of thing. Especially when you see how the Paramount deal came into place. Like, that was all because of stuff that was set up between the Ellisons and the Trump administration. And this is them really paying that off to kind of maximize more subscriptions and get more people in on their product. So,
real quick before we get into the card, Dana said he's expecting Super Bowl numbers, but he kind of backtracked that. Now he's saying worldwide numbers. Are you a little surprised that it's Paramount Plus only and not on CBS? Because I was a little surprised that it's not on CBS and it's all on Paramount Plus.
Kind of for the viewership aspect of it, But then again, when you see the 7.7 billion that they paid, this is essentially their like one big event that they could, they're gonna get you to subscribe to this, and then the following month you have Conor McGregor returning. What's up, William? And so like it shocked me in the sense, what's up, Rob? It shocked me in the sense of, well, you would think if they actually wanted to do the Super Bowl numbers, which I'm sorry is so.
You'd be lucky to do a World Series number, right? Like if you did a World Series number, you would be happy.
I mean, we have the 17.7 million. That's what the Rousey thing did. I think if they get anywhere close to that, that would be deemed a success. But I saw people saying like over under 23 million. If that's the number, I would probably have to go under. And to be clear, I think this event will do very well and the numbers will be insane. But I do not think what's the easiest way of putting this without pissing people off?
Agreed, Rob. I'm surprised it's not on CBS too.
Yeah, and especially like because to me, we've been getting one thing from Dana and other things from the Paramount execs. Like Dana is hammering home he wants to do the Super Bowl numbers, where all the Paramount executives are pretty much saying this is our main goal is to bring in subscriptions and stuff.
Right.
And I don't think they're going to give us that number. I think Dana's just going to say, oh, it did fucking awesome. The numbers are crazy, but they don't release that sort of stuff. So I don't know if, Meltzer's going to have a beat on it or anything, but I think the number is going to be whatever they tell us. And they're probably going
to lie a little.
Yeah.
But imagine that. Imagine people lying at the White House, Bobby. Never.
I do expect it to do very well and would expect it to at least break like the pay-per-view numbers and stuff, but that isn't the same. What do we got from Rob?
Rob says Paramount doesn't even have the UFC related subscribers to test the Rousey record. Right, like technically they don't. Like it would just be subscribers. Like you wouldn't know that they're related to the UFC or not. But I mean, obviously you could see an influx of what you have subscribed prior to this week and then going into than what it is on after Sunday. You know what I mean? You would have that. Like, hey, we were at 42,000 subscribers, and now we're at 200,000 subscribers or some shit. You know what I mean?
And I thought the Rousey fight would do around like 20 million, and they came short of that, but it was still a huge success. I mean, with those type of numbers, they broke the record. So
right.
But it's because of that. I don't think they're going to give us that actual figure.
Yeah, I don't expect it. Thanks, Rob. I don't make very many good points, but every once in a while I do. Bobby, let's jump into this card. It is stacked. It's a 7-fight card. It's the let me ask you before we actually do that. Are you worried about any of the elements? I don't think it's supposed to rain, but it is supposed to be hot as fuck. The humidity, the bugs, the lights outside. I think most of these guys at one point in time in their career has fought someplace outside, right? Like, or has dealt with the elements at one point in time. Maybe not in the fucking UFC or on the White House, but they've definitely probably had a fight outside a time or two.
Yeah, Gaethje's fought outside before. Let me take you back to April 10th, 2010. UFC 112. First time they went to Abu Dhabi, that was technically outside.
Right.
You had BJ Penn fighting Frankie Edgar on that card. BJ Penn did look a little bit behind, but, at the young point of my fandom, I always thought that was more Frankie Edgar. He kind of proved it in the rematch. And then you had Anderson Silva just styling and clowning around on Damian Maia, and Dana White left in the 4th round and threw the title at his manager's feet. So I think at best, we're at least going to get a better experience than that. The grappling is probably what gives me more pause than any of the striking.
Because of the sweat, everybody's, especially early in the early rounds, right? Because everybody already be fucking sweating.
Yeah, it is just the humidity. To the UFC's credit, they've kind of planned around it. They said they have like 3 different canvases. So I think that they are ready to kind of swap out on demand. The first fight is not starting until 5 o'clock my time. So I think they are pushing it back a tad with the forecast and everything.
7 o'clock. Yeah. 7 o'clock my time, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
7 p.m. Central. Yeah.
But, I'm not concerned, but it is in the back of my head. Like, I probably would not bet on this card because of it. I would at least wait to see the first few fights.
I'm a fool, Bobby. I've already placed the bets.
Yeah. But it is definitely an added element you need to consider. And the one it like really gives me pause on is Derek Lewis. Like, he looked exhausted and had issues in the Waldo fight. And now we're expecting him to fight in this type of humidity. But for the rest of the card, you said it. They booked it with guys they can trust. I mean, Diego Lopez has fought on 300, the Sphere, and now this. So they clearly trust him. And, I don't expect there to be any issues on the scale. They got him weighing in on Saturday, which is good. The biggest thing to get used to for me is just that we have a card on Sunday. It almost feels like football.
Right. Let's jump into the card, Bobby. And you mentioned Diego Lopez is the only fighter to fight on UFC 300, fight at the Sphere, and on this card. He is the number 2 ranked featherweight. He is coming off the loss to the title loss to Volk. He's technically lost 2 out of his last 3. And he's taking on the surging Steve Garcia. This could be fight of the night. Really, it could be. Like, these are 2 guys that are going to open up with some fireworks. They're going to come right at each other. Garcia's like on a 9-fight winning streak. Lopez a slight favorite here at -162.
They hit it out the park with the best fight to open up this card with. This is just simply going to be all action. Probably when the card was originally announced, this is one of the ones I think I was excited for the most, and that hasn't really wavered at all. Lopez is a slight favorite there, -162.
Yeah, -162.
That makes sense. He's coming off the title loss. It does give me a little bit of pause knowing that he did break both of his feet in that fight.
Oh, and yeah, I forgot about that.
He also has inherently seemed to always have issues with cage cutting. Steve Garcia likes to bring pressure forward, and he is also very good at cage cutting and moving laterally. So,
what I will say, I said this after the Lopez and Volk fight, like, Volk is not the guy that's going to bring the pressure, right? Like, he just isn't going to go into the firefight. He's too smart. And where, like, when we saw John Silva and Diego, like, John went into the fire, right? That's Lopez's game. He wants you to fight in this fire and kind of make it a phone booth fight where you're just 2 dudes scrapping it. And Garcia is going to oblige to that.
Yeah, no, and that's why it's going to be a very fun fight to watch. It wouldn't shock me at all if this goes the full distance, even though Garcia has been putting a lot of people down. But Lopez is very, very tough. And I mean, like
he's got a chin. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you noted with, John Silva, he moved that pressure forward, and Diego met him in the center and beat the fucking shit out of him in one of the most elite hate watches of all time. So I'll always be grateful for Diego for that. But I don't know. I think I might start going with the underdogs here. I think Garcia figures out a way to get this done. It would not shock me at all if Diego is able to kind of weather the early storm and ends up picking off the decision. But I don't know. He's just kind of always had issues moving laterally, and that's what Garcia is really good at, with bringing the pressure. So I'm going to side with Steve Garcia on this one, even though I probably want to see Diego Lopez get the victory.
Yeah, so you mentioned the fight will go to the distance. If you're going to do that, it's plus 180. Fight will go the distance. So, and if you look at it here, Diego by knockout is plus 250. Diego by decision plus 350. Garcia by decisions plus 550. And I don't think we're going to see a sub. So I won't even give you those numbers. But Garcia by KO is plus 225.
Yeah, and it is also the kind of real unknown because this is the first fight on the card. So
right.
You know, we might get some answers about the elements early here, or we might totally.
Well, they're the ones that are going to have to really face the heat, right? Because
yeah,
it is 8:00 on the East Coast at that point in time. The sun hasn't even even set yet, really, at this point in time in the summer. So, like, they're the ones that are going to have to really deal with the heat factor.
Yeah, it seems like they've all been, preparing for it, whether it's like training outside or doing a sauna before training. Yeah. So I'm sure there'll, be ways to get through it. And I do trust both guys' cardio, so I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. But then again, who knows? Like, maybe the residual damage of eating shots might be the toughest thing to deal with, the humidity. But we're not going to find out really until people start swinging. So
yeah, let me I am gonna go Diego Lopez by decision. I think he gets it done. I could almost see him getting him out of there. Like, we've seen Diego, like, he can put people out. Like, he gets people out of there as well. This is a fun one. I think fight of the, like I said, this could be, we could sit back and be like, this could be fight of the night. Mainly because, like, after the top three, which we'll get into obviously, but like, it's just like, man, where do they go? Where do they go from here? Like, these other ones are kind of like one-sided ish as far, but this one's close to, as far as like odds and matchmaking, right? The next one, it is a middleweight matchup. This is the only fight that has two unranked fighters on the card, and that is Bo Nickel taking on Kyle Dawkins. Bo Nickel, the heavy favorite here at minus 335. Dawkins at 17-4. Dog at plus 280.
Yeah, I think this probably is what Kev said.
So Kev real quick says, I'm oddly confident it's in Lopez to use his wrestling here and make it boring. Garcia got out wrestled by the violent Bob Ross dude. Yeah. So
very good point.
Yeah. We've seen Diego use his ground game. Great opener. Yeah. Amen to that, Will. Anyway, you got Bo Nickel here versus Kyle Dawkins. Some people real surprised that Kyle Dawkins is on this card, but you know what? Good for Kyle Dawkins, guy who got kicked out of the UFC. Not kicked out, but cut, and then worked his way back, and here he is on a nice winning streak. And Bo Nickel lost the bad one to RDR, and has bounced back his last fight and looked a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, I think this is one of the fights I've come around on the most, because at first I did think the Dawkins booking was random, but he made short work, Gerald Mearshar, and, he definitely deserves the opportunity. Going back to, they want to book people they can trust. I don't think the UFC has much trust in Kobe and kind of the other options and stuff. Right. So I'm not too shocked that this was the fight, and especially because we still do kind of have unanswered questions about, Bo Nickel. He definitely bounced back and looked great in his fight, but Dawkins has really good striking, and he has no problem getting put on his back. He's not going to feel overwhelmed. So stylistically, I think this is actually going to be a much funner fight than Nickel versus kind of an older Kobe.
Yeah, I think you're right. And Dawkins isn't going to be scared. He's not going to be shy away from the moment, right? Like he has a real chance to really be kind of burst onto the scene here if he pulls off the upset.
Yeah, and he's got slick striking, and I think Bo's game plan will be to obviously use the wrestling. I don't think he's going to want to stand there with him too long and prove a point, because you can really get into trouble, Dawkins, that way. But at the same time, he does have slick submissions on his back as well. So, I would not think it would be a scenario where Bo wants to use his kickboxing because he's afraid of the jiu-jitsu. And then you also got kind of this fight, more than anyone, is where I'm a little unsure of with the elements outside, just like how much grappling we're actually going to see and stuff.
Right, and that's the key to victory for Bo,
Yeah, it's the key to victory, but at the same time, you're wrestling outside in humidity, so
Right.
It's also a good way to tire yourself out. But he is a very good athlete, so I don't think we got to worry about it too much. But I wasn't expecting to do this, because mainly I didn't think the odds were that wide, but it looks like I'm starting off with two underdogs here. I think Dawkins is going to find a way to get it done. Bo is not going to want to stand with him, but I do have faith that Dawkins will be able to get back up when Bo takes him down. So
Bobby, do you need the dog mask? You need the dog mask for this one.
No, I don't view him as that much of a dog. I guess I could have thrown it on, but would it shock me, the very least, that Bo Nickel is able to control him or I'd be kind of surprised if Bo is able to submit him. Like, that would be very impressive, because Dawkins is no slouch. But I don't know. There are a few where it's like there's something in the air. And for me, that is, the Dawkins versus Nickel fight more than anything.
Okay. I don't hate it. I'm surprised that I'm going to go real quick just by the gambling odds here. Bo Nickel by knockout is plus 175. By submission plus 325, which I don't think happens. Bo Nickel, which is by decision, is plus 225. And Dawkins by decisions plus 900. Dawkins by knockout is plus 1100. So there's that. I'm going the opposite here. I think the All-American guy, they're both American, but this is prime for Bo Nickel, for the world to kind of get behind Bo Nickel again. Give me Bo Nickel by decision, which if you bet it's plus 225.
Do you think Bo has the most pressure on him on this card?
Yeah, I would agree. Maybe him and O'Malley, right? I think Sean.
Yeah, no, I definitely think Nickel is going to feel that too and respond to it. So that's why I find it such a compelling fight. He is a 3.5 to 1 favorite for a reason. He should win.
Yeah. Let's get into the next one. It is Marcio Rufi coming off his last win was big. 13-2, the biggest favorite here at minus 800, taking on Mike Chandler, who absolutely looked like hammered dog shit against Patty Pimblett. His last time out back in when was? I got to look that up. When the last time, I was thinking it was this year, but it was last year.
That was for sure last year.
Yeah, because the Patty fight was in April of last year, so it's been over a year since Chandler fought, and he's on a 3-fight losing streak. His last win was against Tony Ferguson way back in May of 2022. Since then, sub by Poirier, lost by unanimous decision Charles Oliveira, and was knocked out TKO by Patty. And you get to Hoofy, was on the run, had the bad loss, looked like didn't look like he was right against BSD, got right against Rafael Fiziev, and here we are number 9 versus number 13 in the lightweight division.
Yeah. Amazing what happens when you leave the fighting nerds.
Yeah. He's on his own, kind of doing his own thing.
And, that's probably, it's weird because, first of all, I'm glad the UFC got Chandler on this card. I'm sure Chandler much would have preferred Conor McGregor, but, that seems to have sailed with the UFC. But, it's good for them to showcase it. And I can't really think of anyone that kind of deserved to be on it more for being the company guy for them. Like, he's always given them entertaining fights and has never said no. So it was good to see him throw him the bone. But
if I'm Conor, though, I would have rather fought Mike Chandler than Max Holloway, but
easily. But I don't think the UFC is trying to give him an easy win. So and they seem to kind of pull that grace when we'll get into that next month. I don't want to I'll go on a 20-minute tangent. But is Chandler the biggest underdog on this card?
Yeah, he's plus. Yeah, I believe. Let me see. What is? Yeah, plus 500. Yeah. He's even bigger dog than Gaethje. Gaethje's plus 500.
Because obviously the Roofy fight or the BSD fight was just a real rough showing for Roofy. I mean, he essentially just got dominated and I don't want to say quit, but more or less kind of did. But then, the bounce back, going to Australia, kind of working with a new team. And Fiziev was absolutely having moments in that fight. And, Roofy was able to turn it around. So I don't think the UFC is the favors kind of end at having Chandler on the card here. I was surprised to hear that Chandler turned down BSD and almost preferred Roofy. Like, maybe there's something that Chandler sees.
I thought BSD turned it down.
Oh, BSD turned it down. Okay.
Yeah. BSD turned it down. He's like, I don't want to fight. He said fighting Mike Chandler does nothing for him at this time.
Okay. Well, that's just my own stupidity for thinking that, Chandler. But it kind of goes to what I'm thinking, because, like, the most common thing would be for Chandler to use his brain in this fight.
Right. We say that every fight. Every Mike Chandler, I'm like, Mike Chandler could have been a UFC champion at points and times. I feel like if he would just fucking wrestle like the all-American wrestler that he is.
Yeah. And, will that be his game plan early to make Roofy kind of switch things up and stuff or be on his toes? I really feel the moment Chandler gets punched once, he's just going to go full fucking retard and just move forward. And, like that, the Gaethje fight, for example, he was not really in that fight too many times, but he just kept moving forward, telling him to bring it. And I have a hard time believing Chandler is not going to do that here.
Right.
Maybe I'll eat my words on this and he will choose to grapple and kind of extend the fight. If I knew he was going to do that, I would think it was a far more winnable fight for Chandler. And I think these odds would be cut in half. I think the odds signify that they figure he is going to just go out on his shield, leave everything there. And I do not like Chandler's chances with that. Like, Roofy is significantly bigger, has quite a bit of power, but I don't want to completely discount Chandler's toughness and stuff, but especially like seeing that last Patty performance, it seemed like those days were kind of catching up on him. And
Great.
I just think Roofy is going to be able to put him out if Chandler chooses to fight like that.
Yeah, is this the time now? Because he's older, right? Like, he already made the money. I think he made a conscious decision when he came to the UFC, and he did it at Bellator too. Obviously, go back and watch him and Eddie had one of the best wars you could ever ask for, right? Maybe it could be arguably the greatest fight in Bellator history, arguably. And but I think when he came to the UFC, I'm gonna put on exciting fights. I'm gonna try to get this Conor fight. Like his first fight, after he knocked out Dan Hooker, called out Conor McGregor. It was supposed to happen. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So now, does he decide, hey, I'm gonna try to preserve my career and make it last longer by fighting smarter? And part of me thinks like that is what's going to happen. I told you, I actually put a flyer. I bet the flyer, Mike Chandler by decision, because I think he can go 3 rounds. I think against Hoofy. And if he just fucking just wrestle him to the ground like BSD did, because he's very capable of doing that, he could win this fight. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, so I was trying to unmute myself, but I was doing it poorly. My bad. I agree with everything you're saying. The problem is the reason you're explaining it like you're talking to a 4-year-old is because you don't think he's going to listen to your advice. Am I wrong?
No, I hope he does. Because Mike Chandler by decision is plus 1,600. The juice is what?
Then what is him by knock? Like that doesn't add up.
By KO is 800.
Wow. So they figure if he gets it, what's submission?
1,600.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I could. If it's ever a 4-digit number, it's always worth a sprinkle.
I sprinkled it because, like, I feel like that's the way he can win. Yeah. Like if he's gonna go win, that's the way to win. I don't think he's gonna knock him out, but I do think if he went in there with a smart game plan and stuck to it, he could win this fight.
Yeah, it's winning the 2 rounds, like with the damage might be rough, but I do at that number, why not? Like it's more than worth it. That's great value.
Yeah. I mean, a Hoofy on the other hand, who is a complete sniper and I just don't know. The thing when I said this when he fought Fiziev, I didn't get the answers that I came after the BSD, right? We had a lot of questions about Hoofy. Those never got answered against Fiziev because Fiziev isn't the type of guy to do those things. He is going to oblige to stand and bang.
But I equally question if Mike
Chandler isn't. I mean, he has the ability to, but whether he's mentally going to is 2 different things. With all that being said, I'm with you. I'm taking Hoofy because Mike Chandler will go in there. We'll ask for Henry Hoof will be in his corner and tell him, Mike, take him down. Stop doing the game in the firefight. And Mike Chandler's just gonna fucking throw caution to the wind, and he probably won't get knocked out. In fact, I think because Chandler's a tough SOB, I think a Hoofy by decision probably gets it done. And that would Hoofy by decision is plus 450.
I don't think a post-fight speech victory would hit harder for anyone more than Chandler, though. So that would be he'd be back on top if he got that victory.
Yeah, Mike. So Rob says Mike's career ends, gloves getting dropped. I think you could see that and at the main event if both of them.
Rob's going to be demanding he removes them the second why are your gloves not off?
Yeah.
I do think you're also right, Rob.
I do too.
What is a better retirement fight than being on the White House lawn for Michael Chandler,
Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to get anything else,
Yeah. So. Yeah, those Rob subtle way of saying he thinks Chandler's going to get pieced the fuck up.
He probably is. You get into the heavyweight, the lone heavyweight here. This one's where the heat and conditions will be in subject. You got Josh Hokett coming off the absolute war that was him and Curtis Blades, 9-0, heavy favorite here at minus 410, taking on the ever game, the president's favorite fighter, actually, Derek Lewis, 29-13, coming off he looked bad against Waldo. Huge dog in this one at plus 320.
If I had $1 every time I heard someone was the president's favorite fighter, I'd have like almost $10, probably, maybe 11.
Well, that's fighters saying that, but legit, the president wanted him on this card, so we know that's pretty legit.
Yeah, that was definitely the sell. The skeptic in me says they saw the amazing performance Josh Hokett was doing and was like, hey, why the fuck is Hokett not on this card? But yeah, if they want to, give it to Derek Lewis, I have no problem with that. And I know he's going to have a puncher's chance, but to me, this is a bigger mismatch than any of the heavyweight fights on the MVP card.
I think Hokett just is.
Hokett is so athletic. He's used to playing in Santa Clarita, 101 degrees with shoulder pads on. If there's anyone I'm really not concerned about these elements in, it would be Hokett. And the opposite, if there's anyone I'm concerned about these elements, it would be Derek Lewis. And especially with how he just essentially gassed out and went down versus Waldo, I'm expecting more of the same from Hokett. And I think he wins this fight. It's to set up to fight the winner of the co-main event. They've been dropping those tea leaves, whether it's Chael interviewing him, Brian Campbell was talking about on CBS Sports. They're also talking everything under the sun, which I don't like really hearing because they're almost foreshadowing it off Hearn's comments. And I will acknowledge the puncher chance Derek Lewis has, but I don't expect Hokett to be as reckless as he was in the Blades fight. I think he's going to acknowledge the power for Lewis far more than he did with Blades. Like, he took a few shots from Blades and he did not seem like really concerned with the power.
He can't take those same shots from Derek Lewis.
I don't expect him to fight like that. I think he's, going to move around, keep Lewis moving on the feet. It's the full big octagon. It's not like they brought the Apex over. We got a full-size octagon. And, I expect Hokett to most likely get him out of there. But if not, it will probably be a 30-27.
Yeah, I expect actually Derek Lewis doesn't get out of the first round anymore, whether it's the opponent or him. So I kind of bet the under on the rounds here. I'm kind of with you. I think that Derek Lewis Lewis will always have a puncher's chance, right? Like, we just know that. Like, he has that one thing that he just has that a lot of people don't have, and that's that one knockout punch power. A few guys, he has that in spades. You're right. If Hokett's got to be smarter, I think he will. He can't just go in recklessly like he did with Blades. I think he felt like he could take Blades' best shot and keep moving. You take Derek Lewis's best shot, you're going to be picking yourself up off the canvas, and you won't know which character you really are if that happens to you. So that's kind of where I'm at. For Hokett by KO is minus 135, so you can't even get him at plus money at minus 135. Hokett by decisions plus 650. Lewis by decision is plus 1,800.
That one I would not touch with a 10-foot pole.
You're just giving your money to the books. Lewis by KO, which I did put a flyer on. Again, I think it was only like $2 or whatever, but plus 375. I one puncher's chance, why not, right? So
and if I were to make an argument for that, Hokett did take a lot of damage
He did take a lot of damage, and it's kind of a quicker turnaround, right? Like that fight was only like 2 months ago. So it is questionable decision here for Hokett. I do think he kind of gets it done. But I would not be surprised if we're watching Derek Lewis throw his cup at the president at the end of this. So give me Hokett. But I'm rooting for my boy, the Black Beast.
Yeah, it's and Derek Lewis absolutely deserves to be on this card because of his fighting style. I mean, you're searching for knockouts. Who else are you going to call besides the Black Beast?
Right, the knockout king. Let's get into maybe these top three fights here, Bobby, have maybe the most, I would say consequential, or whatever the word I'm looking for here, going in the future, right? Like immediate impact in the future. And that starts out with the former bantamweight champion, Sugar Sean O'Malley, 19-3, heavy favorite here at minus 475, taking on the surging Zahabi. 14-2, dog at plus 335. Zahabi, though, is on the winning streak. This is his, highest profile fight, to date.
I had no idea O'Malley was this heavy of a favorite. I figured it was more in like the 2.5 to 3 to 1 range. I kind of understand it though. I mean, Zahabi is on a hell of a streak, but he has looked beatable in some of those.
I mean, some people said he lost to Aldo, right? Like if you go back and watch that fight.
I'm some of those people. Yeah.
Yeah. And even the Cheeto fight was close.
Mm-hmm. And I do think O'Malley kind of acknowledges he needs to, I don't want to say put on a show here, but he definitely needs to win, because if he does lose this fight, then we kind of enter a whole nother conversation, like with what O'Malley's future is. I know they're trying to lay the tea leaves of if he wins this, he's back in the title picture because the Jan rematch. Let's just focus on getting the win,
About as close as Dana will get to seeing Ariel getting slimed out.
Well done, William. Well done. That's good.
But yeah, I'm with you here. O'Malley in his mind feels like he's got to knock out Zahabi and that would put himself into the title picture if he can have a viral knockout here.
He's been talking about it. He's saying, like, I need to have a knockout. Haven't had a knockout since Aljo. That Aljo performance, he essentially caught Aljo. Right. But good to kind of see that he's approaching it from that mindset of, having to have a finished mentality. And this would be that event to do it. If you want to kind of get back to that whole sugar show kind of thing, that would be the best way to do it. Personally, for me, I think this might be the easiest fight to say will go the distance.
Yeah, I agreed.
I don't expect Zahabi to really fight that reckless. He's probably going to try to close the distance and get O'Malley up on the fence. He's been shown you can beat him that way before. But I would expect Sugar to be able to get this done, but I do not think the odds should be this wide. Like, I'm not trying to discount Zahabi like that.
Yeah. William says, all jokes aside, I like Timbo versus Zahabi as coaches facing too. Yeah. True that. So.
Yeah, and I think GSP is in Zahabi's corner.
Yeah.
So that's going to give Zahabi a lot of confidence there, and especially in between corners. He's never essentially going to be out of the fight, even if he's, down on the card. So, I think it's no secret. I would have preferred them to do Sandhagen, but, this is the fight we got. And like you said at the top, sitting with all these fights, I think it's kind of the best 7 fights they could have put on, not breaking their kind of cost-effective bank and stuff.
Right. And Zahabi deserves a high-profile fight, right? Like, he really does. Like, he's not, he's on a 7-fight winning streak. He's ranked number 6. He's trying to crack into that top, 5. And if he goes out and beats Sean O'Malley, like, he's right there. You know what I mean? Like,
we're talking title eliminator after that. I mean, you can almost make an argument because of fresh matchups that he would have done enough to wait to fight the winner of Jan versus Merab. So, this probably has some of the biggest stakes on it for a non-title fight on the card, aside from the Hogan fight.
Agreed. And O'Malley by KO is plus 175. O'Malley by decision. So this tells you that everybody's kind of thinking what we're thinking. It's minus. You can't even give that plus money. It's minus 105.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna bet on O'Malley, I would just say take the plus money with the KO, even though you can obviously lose that if it goes to decision.
Right.
But it's way better than paying up for minus 475. Like, obviously, you can handicap with going. You said O'Malley by the distance is minus 105.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd, throw half of what you're playing the minus 105 at on Sugar KO and hope for the best.
Right, and or you could just bet the over on the rounds or as well if you want. Zahabi by decisions plus 500. So, Zahabi by submission. We've seen Sean get submitted. That's plus 2,000. So,
Yeah, I mean, shit. I would almost play Zahabi by decision over playing his money line because I would, if he wins, it's by taking 2 rounds off, I think. So,
yeah.
Take the extra juice.
Yeah, I'm with you though. Give me Sugar Sean here. He gets it done by decision as well. So, Bobby, let's get into, I think, maybe the most intriguing fight on this card, and that's none other than the interim heavyweight championship. Alex Poatan-Pierre, the reigning light heavyweight champion, former middleweight champions, trying to become the first. Let me set it all up first. He's 13-3 minus 115, taking on Ciryl Gane, the number 1 contender, who is this is a pick'em minus 115 is Gane as well. Let me ask you, if Alex wins this fight, just this one alone, do you consider him a 3-time champion?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to ask me, do I consider him the GOAT?
No.
Yeah. So essentially, when they first announced this, I was a lot more jaded, and I was kind of pissed off that they were doing it for the interim title, especially because of the significance of him being a 3-division champion. The more I've sat with it, especially how close I really think the fight could be, I do think he would be earning this in full, and you would consider him a 3-division champion. I do think he earned it, even though I would acknowledge there being a little asterisk of him needing to obviously unify the title. But for the UFC selling point, yes, I do think it works. Even though he is not the current 205-pound champion, even though they have him with 2 titles on the graphic.
Oh, yeah, I guess he's technically not the current because he vacated it. But yeah.
I understand all of it. It's marketing. But short answer to the question, yes, I would have to consider him the because they literally might make that undisputed sooner rather than we want to admit.
Right. Agreed. And this fight to me is the most intriguing fight of it all, and there's a reason why it's minus 115. Like, I mean, I've gone back and forth. Like, Ciryl Gane, like, say what you want. Like, the dude was, he looked good against Tom for as long as it lasted. He is a legit kickboxer as well. I think he doesn't have to worry about the takedowns. Neither one guy, right? Well, what do you put the over under takedowns? 0.5?
Maybe. However, I was thinking, what is the quickest way to slow down Ciryl Gane's speed? Maybe try putting some weight on him early. And he definitely can use a takedown because with Glover, like, he's more than comfortable grappling. Ciryl has looked lost at times because of that. But at the same time, I do think it's smarter to use what kind of got you there. But if you I would probably take the over if it was like half a takedown.
1.5. Let's just say 1.5.
1.5, I would say probably under, because I don't think Gane gets back up if he gets taken.
Yeah. This fight, because like Alex is so great And he really is. And you wonder, like, I don't have anything, but will he be a little slower at the higher weight? I don't really know. I don't really think so. We know the power will translate; it'll still be there. But Gane is so quick in and out, right? Like in his movements, like and keeping kind of at range. Like, can Alex? But also, Gane lowers his right hand a lot, and we know from the opposite end, nobody might have a better left hook than Alex Pereira.
This is easily the most intriguing fight on the card because I essentially just do not know what is going to happen.
So many different variables, right? Like, yeah. What could happen?
Like, I know what I would like to have happen, but at the same time, I have to put my disdain and hate for Ciryl Gane aside and acknowledge that, yes, he is extremely light on his feet. He has very good footwork movement. He's good at bouncing around, kind of almost tiring out his opponent and mimicking that. Like, that's why Tom was struggling in that first round. He was just kind of having issues kind of figuring out how to move in on him. And he does have that speed advantage, and he can also prolong the fight because of his footwork. He's going to have the full cage to dance around in. It's not like it's going to be the small cage or anything. And I'm not really as concerned about Pereira's speed moving up to heavyweight or anything. It's more about Gane's speed himself.
It is.
And because especially like Gane moves like a middleweight, but Pereira literally has won the title at middleweight. So he's kind of used to using these guys with that speed, like especially with Izzy and stuff. He's had success with him. So I don't necessarily think Gane is going to show him anything he hasn't seen before.
That's how I look at it as too. Like, this guy fought at middleweight and was knocking, you know what I mean? Like those guys are quicker. I don't know how much speed Gane's is gonna change. It's gonna affect Alex because he's already fought faster guys and beat those guys.
And if Pereira can nullify getting held up on the fence like he had trouble with Ankalaev, I really don't see a point in Gane choosing to grapple. I mean, I think Gane is going to want to keep the distance the entire time and keep it on the feet. So I don't think Pereira is going to really have to worry about any takedowns or anything, and that's going to make Pereira open up more.
I looked it up just now real quick. The takedowns, they have Alex, MGM has Alex by takedowns over under a half. And then they have, for some odd reason, they just have Ciryl Gane takedowns 4.5. And if you bet the over, it's plus 175. Who the fuck's betting that? Who the fuck is betting that?
That is, yeah, you're essentially just sick if you're playing that. That's the best way to really describe that. It's, I don't know, the longer the fight goes, the more interesting it's going to get. Because, like, if this makes it to the third or something, I think we're all going to start feeling a little bit nervous, because if Gane is able to slowly take some of these rounds off, I can't rule out him not getting a decision.
Yeah, I think that's his best way to win. But how long will it go, though? You know what I mean? Like, that'll be the question. Like, can he get it to the later rounds? Alex, we know, has got. I mean, we've seen him flatline how many people after so many people, and I don't think he's. I'm trying to think in my head, other than the Ankalaev fight, like when he has won, he doesn't go to decision, right? Like, he has knocked out everybody.
Yeah, I mean, there was his debut at 205 where, like,
that was 3 rounds, not that was against Jan Blachowicz, But I feel like
very true. It wasn't 5 rounds. You're right.
Yeah, and it was 3. And doesn't everybody go to a decision with Jan Blachowicz? Like every fucking body.
Yeah, sometimes it goes to a draw with the decision.
Right. Who are you picking here in this one?
You know, my brain is telling me to go with Gane here.
Wow. Okay.
But I am absolutely not listening to my brain. I refuse to support terrorism. I am not the fucking White House. So give me Alex Pereira and new interim or whatever. But I think he figures out a way to get it done. I won't rule Alex out if he can't knock him out. I do think he can win on points, but I do think the odds got this one right. And it should basically be a coin flip. And honestly, I'm almost surprised that Gane is not a slight favorite here because of that. Just with him having fights at heavyweight. But Pereira has proven the odds wrong so many times. I understand why it's the pick.
Right. And if Gane wins, he'd be a 2-time interim heavyweight champion.
That sentence is disgusting, and I hope it's the last time I have to hear it.
If Gane wins, he'd be a 2-time UFC heavyweight champion.
Walked myself right into that one.
Alex by KO is plus 125. So if you're going to bet Alex to win, that's obviously, Alex by decisions plus 650, Gane by decisions plus 275, and Gane by KO is plus 300. So,
yeah, and there are definitely some like interesting angles to bet this fight. I'm just staying the hell away from it because it's.
I did too. Actually, I did too. I didn't bet. This is one of the. I stayed away from it completely. But with that being said, I'm going. And new UFC interim heavyweight champion of the world, Alex Pereira.
Indeed.
Yeah. No dog mask this time, actually, Bobby. Just in case I couldn't. The only person I thought about bringing it out for was Derek Lewis or Mike Chandler.
At first, I thought you were gonna throw it on for Zahabi, and then because I knew you're like me, you would rather roll over and die than pick Cyril Gane in this fight.
Yeah, I couldn't. Well, I mean, and then we get to the main event. And you got Ilia Topuria, the reigning defending lightweight champion, undefeated, 17-0. He's taken on Justin Gaethje, the interim lightweight champion, 27-5, plus 400 to Ilia minus 600, the heavy favorite here. I think we'll both know how this fight goes, and I don't think it's going to last long, Bobby. And unfortunately, we're going to see American die at the White House.
So yeah, like obviously, I'll be quick with this because I don't want to repeat something I've said 1,000 times. This is obviously not the fight I wanted, but I do acknowledge it's the fight that had to happen when Gaethje won the interim title. Like he undoubtedly deserves this opportunity. He deserves to play spoiler, and I do have to give him credit, mainly for his media day today. I'm not talking about the McAfee work or Ali and Milky Kawa tweeting back and forth, but I think he articulated in his words best. It just sold me a lot more on him being at this moment. And though it didn't really sell me on the outcome of how I think it is going to go, I do appreciate this main event a lot more than when it got announced. If I'm trying to be objective, I think Justin needs to throw the calf kicks early. He always kind of gets those off. My main concern in this, and I've highlighted it multiple times, like we watched the Chandler Gaethje fight where Gaethje is very technical in the chaos. I think that can work for a while with Ilya, but it's when you saw like the Jai Herbert Ilya fight, for example, Ilya got caught with that head kick early. I thought he got hurt a little bit more in real time with that. He immediately kind of went for the leg and got Jai Herbert back up against the fence. But he faced real adversity in that round. He lost that round. And then he came back and absolutely sent Jai Herbert to fucking Valhalla. And, I've always been a fan of Gaethje. I've appreciated the stuff that we get him. But I really think this fight only ends one way, and that is Ilya by KO. I do got to say, though, if it goes past the first round, it's immediately going to get a lot more interesting to me. Because, like, if Gaethje can weather that initial storm, I do expect him to have success at this. And if I did not have that UFC 300 performance in my mind with the amount of damage Gaethje took for 25 minutes and then getting flatlined, I think these odds would be a little bit less wide. But
I don't know. We saw him get flatlined a couple of times. We've seen him get flatlined a few times. I mean, he's lost to Max, flatlined. He lost to Dustin, was beat up pretty bad in that. Like, he's been to some wars.
Yeah, and I just style-wise, I think it will be fun for us, but I just think it's a very bad matchup for Gaethje because even if he chooses to wrestle, Ilya is very good at grappling.
Right.
Gaethje's best chance is to be on the feet, as crazy as that sounds. But normally when Ilya makes these predictions of in the first 2 minutes, I find it a little bit shocking. I don't really find those comments to be some crazy epiphany. I do think that is what's going to happen. And yeah, I think he's going to land a KO and retain the title.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think he gets him out of there. In fact, most of the odds breakers tell us it's minus 250 by Ilya by KO. By sub, it's plus 400. Ilya by decisions plus 900. Gaethje by KO is plus 600. So, and then Gaethje by sub is plus 4,000. And Gaethje by decisions, 1,500.
And for a huge, insane moment on a 1-on-1, obviously Gaethje being able to pull this off would be an insane ending to this card. I'm trying to get there. I just don't respectfully see it.
I don't see it either, unfortunately. I think he puts his gloves down. We talked about Mike Chandler. I think Gaethje's kind of already said,
I think Gaethje retires either way. If he wins,
I think he kind of said, this is probably it for me.
Yeah. And what a better way to go out. I mean, another person that absolutely deserves to be in the spotlight for this.
Right. And he'll go out, and we know he'll go out on a shield, right? He only knows one way,
Yeah.
So,
and, I expect him to embrace afterwards. I think it'll all be, man hugs and respect afterwards.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm with you. Give me, and still the El Matador is your lightweight champion. Can't wait.
Yeah, we're finally here. It'll be interesting to see what happens afterwards now that it's finally over. So,
right.
Should be a fun ass fucking Sunday.
It should be should be absolute banger card. Can't wait for it. Bobby, real quick, you got any final thoughts before we get up out of here?
Yeah, I wanted to touch just real quick on the Ryzen event was great. I wanted to just showcase Tony Laramie in the co-main event. He took the fight. He actually got bit by a dog, so he had to fight on antibiotics. So they added a catch weight. I could not believe that he was on antibiotics through the camp because he looked great. Great pace, undoubtedly won all 3 rounds. And I do think he should be fighting for the Ryzen flyweight title next, which changed hands. It was a student versus teacher matchup, and Shinru ended up winning it, and so now he won't be known as the toilet cleaner of ATT anymore. There was a little bit of banter back and forth, but they left everything in the cage, like Ryzen always does. But I am looking forward to seeing Tony get that opportunity. I think we'll probably get that hopefully at the end of the year for maybe their New Year's event or something. So just wanted to give that a quick shout. And obviously no MMA on Saturday. I mean, there might be a PFL Africa event, so check that out. But Jesse Bam Rodriguez moving up to try to get another title against Antonio Vargas. Bam Rodriguez should win, but I do think him moving up in weight gets this intriguing for me. So that'll definitely be something I'm glued into on Saturday there.
For sure. And we'll be back next Wednesday, folks, 8:00 Central, 9 Eastern, talk all things the results of this White House card and then some. And actually it's weird because they go from they went from Apex, White House, Apex. Can't remember who's next week's
Horiguchi and Cape. That's
gonna be a mega fight. So
and if you want to watch that fight in a crowd, just go watch Ryzen. The first fight was great.
So other than that, folks, be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, share. For Bobby Blunts, I'm Bodkins. Enjoy the fights. It's going to be an absolute scene, I'm sure. Can't wait. See you then.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.